when I'm not contemplating the very reasonable prices for buying a modern suit of armor? I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. Hey, question. I'm going to start leading Campfire jam sessions. What are some good songs to do things and play to please the listeners' ear holes? Thanks, love the videos. Okay, so I'm splitting this up into 3 sections of 5 songs each that you might play at the Sean Daniel Campfire retreat. Now, we're going to have songs that will instantly get you kicked out to lose your Campfire pass, songs that are actually cool and get you a ton of cool points, and then 5 songs that I'm not legally allowed to act like I'm enjoying, but secretly deep down, you're getting a lot of respect from me. So songs that you are not allowed to play under any circumstances would be Riptide, can't do that, lose your Campfire pass. Anything by Jason Mraz. Creep by Radiohead, favorite band of all time, just not allowed to play Creep. Kumbaya, unless you do it super ironically, that's the only way to actually do it. And then obviously Wonderwall, which I shouldn't even have to, it's sad that I even have to tell you that in today's day and age. As far as something cool that will get you a lot of Sean Daniel credit, we've got Jesus, Etc. by Wilco, Between the Bars by Elliott Smith, Don't Think Twice, It's Alright by Bob Dylan, Lucky by Radiohead, good Radiohead, and Someday by The Strokes. As far as songs that I cannot publicly congratulate you on, but secretly I'll be like, well done. We've got Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi, Redemption Song by Bob Marley, Island in the Sun by Weezer's Wild Horses, Rolling Stones, and last but not least, Glycerine by Bush. So I hope to see you all at the Jamboree tonight, and bring your friends. Can you hear that? Goddamn Woodpecker! Alright, so this is Woodpecker. It is like right outside this window right here that I've had battles with before. And when we first moved into this house, I was trying to, it's like you have to reach out the window and you see it straight up, and it's like at the apex, the very pinnacle of this house, and it drives me freaking crazy because it's like just eating away at the very, very crux of where the roof is, and then it just kind of like nests in there. And I'm always trying to record stuff, and it's doing this stupid little woodpecker thing, and they're protected, so I'm not allowed to kill it. Plus, even if I wanted to kill it, I don't even know how I could do it because it's so hard to get to. So what I did, like a year ago when this first started happening, I took this sponge and I soaked it in rat poison, which I got it all over my hands too. Like I wasn't wearing gloves or anything. So I soaked the sponge in rat poison, and then I taped it to the end of this like extension window washing pole, and then I super glued a bunch of just Gorilla Glue on the end of this thing, and I like shifted it up there, and I just plugged this woodpecker hole with it, thinking that, you know, rat poison would do the trick. They didn't have woodpecker poison at the store. But I got it up there, and then I tried to bring it down, but the pole was stuck, like it was like some real heavy duty glue. So for like 6 months, there was just like a pole like swinging in the wind, and eventually it fell down. But the woodpecker has returned. Apparently the rat poison is hardened and lost its punch. So, hey man, great QA as always, but I do have one question. In terms of guitar playing, Elvis, Chuck Berry, or Buddy Holly? I mean, is this really a question? Like, it's obviously Chuck Berry. I could just be very ignorant on some of the deeper cuts from Elvis and Buddy Holly, but I think it's obviously Chuck Berry. During the path of a beginner, intermediate guitarist, do you think it would be useful to learn and play some bass too? And at what point during the developing of guitar skills? I'm asking because I bought a bass when I was still not much more than a beginner guitarist, and I liked it, but at the same time I feared it would sidetrack me from my guitar thing and slow down my progresses. Silly me. Lately I discovered playing bass was nothing but beneficial to my guitar skills in many ways. Also, I'm self-thumbing up this comment right now. Yeah, so I think this is a common question, like maybe if you're first starting to learn guitar, you don't want to get sidetracked by learning another instrument. But personally, I think bass is like a great complement to guitar playing because you just kind of see everything in a slightly different perspective. Like the strings are essentially the same as like the lowest 4 if you have a standard tuned 4-string bass. And you just kind of realize the power that the root note of a chord has over any kind of progression, and just how solid it is just to be able to play along with something that's really just kind of like just banging on the root note. And then if that's kind of holding that down, it really just opens up an incredible world of anything else that you could do over guitar. Whereas if you're just playing solo guitar, which is great, I think it can kind of be difficult to really be expressive in the beginner phase when you're playing. But if you have a bass guitar holding down the root notes, even if you're playing it, you can even like loop it, use a looper pedal, just make a backing track, play along to a bass backing track. It's great because you see how those root notes affect chord progression. And then for me, I understood how maybe playing arpeggio lead lines behind a root note can work, what scales work under the implied nature of a chord, because again, a bass can really only play a couple notes at one time, and really it's just kind of a one note at a time thing. So it kind of simplifies a lot of what's happening in your mind. And again, if you can get a bass, you can get cheap used ones on Craigslist or whatever, like really inexpensively, for about the price of a suit of armor, to be honest. And just start playing along with it and just rock it out. Just because you play arpeggios doesn't mean you sound good. I mean, technically that's true, but I'm gonna keep playing arpeggios, and I will not be deterred. That's all I really need to say about that. Got a question? How do you avoid copying another whilst trying to compose your own? For this question, I brought in my guy Logan Riley, esteemed producer, composer, and thief. Do you want to answer this question for the people?
Yeah, I would probably say, if we're talking about what makes somebody a copycat versus somebody who is inspired by music, if you go into a song knowing that you're going to copy the song, you're probably a copycat.
Then you're a jerk.
You're kind of a dick at this point.
Right.
You kind of deserve everything that's coming to you.
And it will come to you.
Oh, believe me, it will. But I would definitely say, if you're learning from something and perhaps your sound maybe sounds like something else, I don't think it's so much copying as it is learning and growing from it. That's the best thing about music.
For sure.
I mean, everybody plays a C major chord. Doesn't make you a thief just because it's in 22,000 million.
Whatever your influence was before you, you take what they're doing, you add it to your own thing, put your own spin on it. Kind of like you said, if it sounds too much like something else, change one of the notes.
Then you got something completely different.
Slow it down. Put it in 5/4.
Ooh, 5/4.
Yeah.
I like that.
Sure.
I like that.
Kind of like the new rock movie that's coming out. Huh? Skyscraper?
I actually really like this because this is a great example. It's Die Hard.
Right.
At the surface, if you see
we just saw
it
commercial
looks
for it
like
last night. It's like, oh, The Rock is in Die Hard. But wait, what's the twist?
There's a twist. You see, it would be Die Hard if The Rock had two legs. But in this movie, The Rock only has one leg.
And he has a prosthetic leg.
A new movie.
There's your twist.
Complete twist.
That's playing Stairway to Heaven, but playing it in 5/4.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. But with The Rock with one leg.
And that's what it always comes back to. If
Rock
it works
with
The Rock with one leg. If it works for The Rock, it'll work with you. Skyscraper, coming soon to a theater near you. Logan, you're a man of great musical taste. Why don't you tell the people about some listening homework that you want them to go to?
Listening homework. I am friends with a lot of great musicians in San Francisco, and they turned me on to a band called the Derutti Column. And the Derutti Column, their first album came out in 1979. I was just playing Sean some of their music a couple minutes ago. You'd swear it came out
79,
last year.
Yeah.
You'd swear it came out like...
Everything about modern vintage effects pedals is trying to capture this sound.
This beautiful guitars over a simple drum beat with some of the most amazing chords and progressions you'll ever hear. So as a guitarist, if you want to hear something a little bit new, maybe get an idea for some inspiration, maybe some music to steal,
take it from the past.
I'd recommend the Derutti Column.
The Derutti Column. So anyways, if you have any questions or comments, hit us up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. Talk to y'all soon.